back.
Yeah, we are.
We are back, and as promised.
Mm.
Oh, well, actually, I'm sorry. My name is Trent.
And my name is Mark.
And my name is Wilbur.
Yes, yeah, and this is
Geek Off the Streets.
Greatest podcast of all time. Talk about geek culture, pop culture, whatever else we want. Deal with it. This week is no exception.
Right on.
Because, man, backed by Popular for the third time?
Yeah.
Yes, the third time.
We've never had a three-timer.
Yeah, we've never had a three-timer.
This is like a Saturday Night Live thing.
Yeah.
Two more times, you're going to get a jacket.
Yeah, dude, it's like a jacket or a trophy or something.
Something.
I've been on GOTS 5 times.
Right,
You know,
so you
yeah.
have some velvet robe waiting for you.
Yeah, but back at Popular Demand, Wilbur Mckesson, the author extraordinaire, is back on our show.
Yes.
But this week, we're just going to be
making the rounds.
Exactly, we're going to rounds, doing his thing. But this week, we're going to be covering X-Men 97. And
Right.
he so graciously gave up a couple of hours of his time to come discuss it with us.
Dun 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 dun. That's a good theme song. And I nailed it perfectly.
Yeah, perfect. I knew exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen.
But before we jump into that, we're going to talk about what we're drinking this week.
Yes, walk us through it, man.
So this is actually from the lovely Anna de Armas.
Yes.
She showed me how to make this personally.
Yes, they're very good friends.
She explained to me in person.
sue us,
this
though.
is how she makes her old fashions. It's basically you take some fancy maraschino cherries with the syrup, and you replace the simple syrup with that. Then you have the cherries, some whiskey, and some orange bitters. And you got yourself an old fashioned.
So the ice in last, which is very interesting.
Yeah. You just want to, that's how she did it.
This is my favorite part. Like when I'm listening to it on Spotify, like we go silent, just so we
Take a sip.
Now everybody listen to a sip.
Yeah,
It's very good.
it's tasty.
So good.
It gets better. It's actually like, you know what I mean? The first time, took a sip off it when you made it.
Maybe because
It was very good.
The ice is like, melts a little bit.
Exactly. I
yeah.
think the water from the ice is mixing with it
Yeah.
just a little bit. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's it. I know that Will's a old-fashioned guy. This guy posted every other day on his Instagram. I see him with an old-fashioned.
I love it, bro.
So-
You're an old-fashioned
Yeah,
guy.
I
likes
forgot.
old-fashioned.
I was trying to bring the big ice blocks, but I forgot to get to the little that thing. That's how it's supposed to be done. But hey.
Yeah, we need to get one. Yeah, we're gonna make like a perfect sphere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Drop it in there.
Those are great.
Do it all fancy.
Yeah.
Do you know that they sell fridges with spheres?
Really?
Yeah, dude. My old roommate got mad upset with me because I bought a regular refrigerator, and then I told him afterwards, because he likes old fashions too, that they make ice in spheres
In this fridge.
in the fridge.
What? And he got mad?
Yeah, because he
Because
likes
you
to
didn't
drink.
get it?
Yeah, because I didn't get it.
Oh, because you didn't get it.
Oh, you did?
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, it was like $1,000 more.
Ooh,
Oh, okay.
Dang.
Sounds like a rich person's fridge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow.
But it's worth it though, for
No, I think that's a great idea. If I had the money, I'd buy
Right.
stupid stuff like that too. Yeah.
Shit, I don't have the money to buy stupid shit. That's a whole other show, everybody. We were having that conversation earlier. Poor life choices.
For sure. All right, well, we're gonna get into some X-Men 97 here. Essentially, if you don't know, X-Men 97 has taken the world by storm at the moment.
Yeah.
It is a direct sequel to the X-Men animated series, the very popular series from the 90s, 92, I think, 92, 97, I think it went those 5 years.
Yeah.
Is that 5 years? Like how?
Yes, but your math is accurate.
I almost want to check me online here. But yeah, so it's a sequel to that. It's a updated animation, new writing team. And it's basically a follow-up to that and the plight of the mutants.
Yeah.
Seems like,
Something interesting too is talking about the writing team behind it is they actually did bring back some of the writers, not like a bunch. I think they brought back 3 different people that worked on the original X-Men series and brought them back, I guess, as consultants for this one. So I mean, I like that continuity. I'm glad that they did reach out to do that.
Yeah.
And this show, you've probably seen it by now, but this show is not a remake. It's not some sort of reimagining. They're not doing that whole scrapping it and doing something new.
Yeah.
They are literally continuing it from where the show left off, the original show left off, just with better animation and probably some better writing in it.
Yeah.
I say that, I think that writing that they had back then, some of it was good for its time. I feel like the writing in this show is probably a little bit smarter than in comparison. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
an
if you take
understatement.
inflation into account, blah blah blah. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But so there's a 10-episode series on Disney Plus. Just concluded last week as of this recording, and we're gonna talk about it a little bit.
Fantastic.
So, what do we like about it?
Ooh, man, where to start? Well, I'll start with the animation. The animation is definitely better. I'll say obviously better. It's obviously better. The original series in the 90s, if anyone hopefully remember the original series, but they always had like that dark shading.
Yeah.
Especially in the 90s. To me, it always felt like they were just trying to save money. Just, you know, instead of like doing like a lighter shade of a color, just paint it black and call it a shadow.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So there was a lot of that in the original X-Men series. They kind of scrapped all that, obviously. And the animation in this is much cleaner. It's much sharper. It's like there are some of their fight scenes are like they're at anime levels, you know, which is a compliment.
Yeah.
100%. So the animation is 100% better. It's fantastic in this, actually. It's very well done.
Yeah. I think like some of those team up fights. It was like with like
Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler. That was a fantastic fight scene. There's another one with Wolverine and
Nightcrawler too. That one was like crazy.
Yeah, the way it was shot and the choreography and the way it's animated, that was all great.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of the fight scenes were really good. Really good.
Yeah, I think I definitely played into the animation. The animation is you can see that, because I've seen, I think I watched the first season of the animated series.
Yeah,
and that was about all I could handle. And you can tell that there's now a much bigger animation budget when it comes to 97. Even the things where there's like with there's a scene after Genosha gets attacked and Cyclops is talking to the president over the
Cooper
hologram
or something like that. Yeah. The president. Yeah.
And the shot on Cyclops has the reflection of the hologram talking in there. So it's like, that's a lot of extra steps with
those
it.
Exactly.
It takes extra steps to do that, you know, to put to do
just make it that
those
much
details.
better.
Yeah, and they had the budget for it, obviously, you know. So animation was fantastic for sure.
Right on.
I liked that they. Let me think here. So one of my positives, I think that they did a lot of great connections to comic book stories. There are a ton of books that they reference.
Big time.
Primarily like with Madeline Pryor, like the clone. I forgot what that series was called.
Yeah.
But that was like they killed off. I think in Claremont's run, Jean died, and Claremont didn't want to. He's like, she's dead. She's done.
That's it.
Yeah, and then
they did something revolutionary. Everybody loved it. It was like great storytelling.
Consequences,
right? And then somebody said, "Let's bring her back."
Yeah,
and
Marvel was like,
"No, you idiots."
yeah. Like Claremont was like, he's like, "I'm not doing it. I don't want to bring her back. She's dead." And then like the editor, the Marvel studio, they're like, "Hey, you need to bring her back because we need her back."
Yeah.
And so anyway, the story got a little convoluted, but that story was in there. They used that one, the one where Storm loses her powers.
Yeah,
they were
taking a lot of these classic moments from X-Men and throwing it in there.
Yeah.
Wolverine losing the adamantium.
Yeah.
They threw that in there too.
Right, yeah. Even Magneto taking over the X-Men.
Yes.
These are all arcs that were from the comic books. I mean, super condensed, obviously.
Yeah. And him wiping out the world with the big EMP.
Exactly, yeah. All these things are straight from the books, man, which was great. So you can kind of, and as a reader, as an avid reader, for a fan, you can see those references, and you know that these weren't just the people, the creators weren't just fans of the animated series; they were fans of the comic books too.
Yeah, you get.
So they really dug deep. So I think that was great that they added a lot of those references in there.
I was a little worried about that too. Also, I mean, a little bit, just because, like all the stuff that they brought out and referenced, like all those elements had probably taken place over like I swear like 20 years. Of X-Men, and they were like just like mining all the best parts
in like one or two episodes that sort of resolved. Yeah,
I mean, but I'm not that mad at it because it was still done well enough. It still looked good.
Because some of those arcs were like 20 comic book issues. Maybe they were long. Like big long arcs. Yeah. So
and they're gonna jack it.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But it ended up being pretty good. What you?
Yeah,
any positives you like?
Yeah. I would definitely say the animation was light years ahead because
Yeah.
when I finished, it wasn't this last week. It was like 3 weeks ago. One of the episodes I thought was the last episode of the season. So I was waiting for the next episode to play, and then it didn't. But the next episode was the X-Men from like back in the day. And I was like,
you're like, yeah.
What happened? They lost a little of the budget here from episode 8 to 9.
I wish you could have seen, because I was sitting there and I was like,
That's hilarious.
Because for some reason Disney, they have, at least for this series, if you don't click skip, it's like the longest drawn out ending credit.
Oh
before
yeah,
you start
just
the next freaking episode.
Click.
Yeah, dude.
Click. Yeah.
And so for whatever reason, I just let it play because I was doing something else. And I'm like, all right, cool, next episode, awesome. And then it goes
to a pile of garbage.
I was like, what is this?
He's so good.
Yeah, and like stuff's like it's not as detailed.
Yeah.
Like
You're not moving right.
Yeah, like, it's like, what is this? I like the animation. I like the detail. I like, like how much color and like and depth, like they put
Big time
into the show,
Mm-hmm.
And you guys mentioned like the comic book stuff. I didn't really read too much comics, but it's cool that they seem like they have a lot. They added a lot in the show.
Yeah.
Which is also pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you one thing that this actually I don't know if this was my biggest or it might have been like just my first in that first episode. I am so glad that they did not make Cyclops like some punk.
Oh yeah.
In that first episode, you see Cyclops as Cyclops is like he hasn't really been portrayed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You see him going like hand to hand with people. He's using his optic blast.
Oh yeah.
Just taking people out, one at a time, deflecting it. Like he
using it to move.
Yeah, using it to move was fantastic.
Or to move other people too.
Right.
Like
yeah.
a lower setting or whatever it was.
It was fantastic. He can control like the power level, like what he needs to do. And he can reflect those beams. Like he can angle it the same way Captain America can throw his shield, make it rebound off of like 3 or 4 different things and hit somebody. Cyclops can do the exact same thing, even more so. He's very, very intelligent, especially when it comes to his ability and his power to do that. He's done it, like all the comic book fans know, he's done that, a million different times. But it was very cool to see it in this.
Yeah.
And then when they were flying and their plane got attacked by Sentinels, in that first episode, the roof comes off the plane, it's all chaotic. I thought it really captured that energy or that feel in that moment as much as you can imagine. Like, Scott was just like firing off blasts, like he wasn't really aiming. He was like, this is kind of where you are, so I'm shooting.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So they did a great job capturing that moment. When they're falling out of the sky, they did a great job, capturing everybody. And all the flying ones, they grabbed who they could
for sure
and landed. And then Cyclops, they were like, good job, guys. Like they left him
bottom.
alone.
Yeah.
And then he fires his optic blast and lands like a fucking G.
Yeah, yeah.
That was awesome. And one of the first times he used his powers, this is just, for anybody that doesn't know, was he was in an airplane with his brother. I think his dad was in the airplane too. And I want to say that's when his dad got taken away by the Shi'ar. I think his dad became like a space pirate.
Right.
Yeah. The Starjammers. Whole different story. Anyways, Scott and Alex, his younger brother, aka Havoc, who they show a picture of him in the series, which is cool. But anyways, they're falling out of the sky and they're young, right? So Scott is, I don't even think he's 10. I don't even think he's that old. But he has Alex. They're falling out of the sky. He fires his optic blast, and that's how they land, and that's how they survive. So maybe that's where they took that from, which is fantastic. That's what you should do. That's what you need to do. And when I saw all of this, and then throughout the series, that's because Cyclops is a character that I do like a lot.
Yeah.
Out of the X-Men, I think he does not get enough credit. I think he's always looked at being like like this, teacher's pet kind of thing. Yeah. So I'm glad that they did a good job with him using his powers, made him a little more complicated.
Yeah.
So
they clearly showed us why he's the leader,
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and I really liked Cyclops. And I liked him a lot in this. Like, he was great in this. One of my favorite characters so far in this series.
Yeah.
And they didn't nerf him or anything. They didn't try to, especially in this day and age, the straight white male is not the one that gets the spotlight. And they didn't diminish anything from anything. They made him like better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's finally this is like I said, this is like probably the first time I've seen him done well.
Yeah, especially
in any sort of like
live,
TV or
most definitely. But I was a big fan of him in like, I think post Messiah Complex. I think he's running the X-Men, but he's kind of become more like Magneto. He's a little bit darker, a little bit more like more absolute. His decision. That's when he has like the black suit with the red X through his face or through his mask. That was cool. And he's with Emma Frost. Obviously, she's messing with him. But
he was with her at the time.
Yeah, but that was a cool period though for him because he was very, very tactical, man. Very tactical, and there's some great issues with him in those series. So yeah, but I was gonna ask if you needed but yeah, no, I loved Cyclops, man. I thought they did him so well.
I don't know if you noticed, but I took your drink.
I did. I do like how they seem to add. And I say this over the other one, although the other one I watched years ago.
Yeah.
They seem to have added so much more depth as far as like character development in this series. Like they had a lot of stuff going on each character, and they show like a lot of background, like the whole split thing with Storm. Like she lost her powers, and then she went on and she had to like find herself, and then the whole thing with Rogue, which is pretty cool, So because it's not like, because I remember the old '90s cartoon was like, it seemed from what I remember was bad guy, it was plot, bad guy, they deal with the bad guy. Okay, great. Episode ends. Next episode. Yeah. Same thing. And it was like, that was like the trend for the cartoons.
For 5 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it. I agree 100%, man, because they did like a lot. I think they did some really careful, like, plotting with the way they told some of those stories. Like a great example is, and I'm going to get into Magneto a little later, but there's that great, and this is a part of that, but there's that great scene when he's like, takes those senators up to space, basically.
Yeah.
And then like, as he's having that conversation with them, Jean's about to have the baby, or fake Jean is about to have the baby. And like, there's that kind of contrast about what he's saying, and as she's giving birth.
Yeah.
There's that moment. There's another one, I think, when it was with Storm and Forge, and then there was something going on, I think, with Rogue and Gambit at the same time, or Rogue and Magneto and Gambit at the same time.
Okay.
And they did those in sequence back to back, and they were like talking about kind of a similar thing and complimenting each other in those 2 separate scenes.
Yeah.
Or like when Cyclops is talking about I think Jean, or when Jean was able to stop his Octic Blast.
Yeah.
He was talking about it to the reporter while Jean was also talking about it
to Wolverine, to Logan.
To Logan, at the same time. And they did those moments. They're just so carefully crafted, and they just were such a good.
Yeah, and that was a great scene too. I mean, those are all great, 100% great points. I just really remember that whole thing where them telling those 2 different. They're telling the same story, but you're seeing it from 2 different perspectives. Which was it was great. That was smart storytelling.
Yeah, definitely impactful. And then even to the moments, like the heavy moments, obviously it's a big spoiler, but Gambit dies,
Oh yeah, because you didn't know. What?
Yeah, and then like and you see like Rogue's whole storyline in this, her whole arc was going back and forth between Magneto, someone she can touch physically, to Gambit, who she clearly loves but can't, can never really be physical with at all. And in the very end, when she finally decides, no, Gambit's what I want to be with. Yeah. He's gone.
He's gone.
So poetic, man. So poetic. But yeah, those moments were amazing, man. I think they did really well with the heavy moments, and they didn't really like pull back on those parts.
Yeah.
I guess emotionally. So yeah.
Yeah, and then in that episode too, like when they're showing it like at night, they're cutting in. They show the Watcher. Did you?
Yeah. In the
I'm
background,
like,
yeah.
oh, geez, the
This is
Watcher's here. That means this is a bad moment
Yeah,
about to happen.
moment. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the Watcher. I think. Well, if you've seen the What If series on Disney Plus, you kind of get an idea who the Watcher is. But the Watcher is this cosmic being that all he does is he watches. He kind of just documents these, these moments in time and space kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, if he's there, that's a bad thing.
Yeah,
That's a
exactly.
bad
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And they show him just sitting there like, oh man,
Damn. Yeah.
it's about to go down.
Yeah.
And that was a great episode. One thing that I'm glad they didn't do, it kind of goes back to what you're talking about, what we were saying about like the characters a second ago, right? So the characters, there's, I don't know, like 7, 8, 9 different characters in here. I feel like they did a good job with all of them. I mean, with Morph, you don't see too much with him, but Morph he was made up for the show. He was cannon fodder essentially. He was created for dramatic effect.
Yeah.
In that first episode, right? So whatever. I mean, it's cool that they brought him back. It's cool that we get to see how his power works. Like he can literally turn into, not just look like somebody.
Yeah, but
he can turn into them, right? And get their powers too, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad, but talking about how great all the characters were, and all the characters had really great storylines. They had great arcs to them. And normally that is not an easy thing to do, to have that many different characters and to flesh them all out and to have great moments with them.
Yeah.
Saying that and taking that into account, I'm glad that they did not turn this show into like the Wolverine show, because the first series, I felt like that was a lot. I feel like Wolverine was, the main character, so to speak, of that original series.
Especially if you go into the live action stuff, that was 100% the Wolverine
Exactly.
show.
It's the Wolverine show,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I get it, because, especially
Everyone
back in the
loves
90s,
Wolverine.
everyone loves Wolverine. He's the tough, broody guy, you know what I mean? So everybody likes that. Everybody likes the rebel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, which is fine. It's funny too, because they, I think Canada, I want to say it's Canada, made a series, Wolverine and the X-Men. I watched a few episodes of it. I don't know, it wasn't that great, but my point is Wolverine was like the leader of that.
Yeah.
And then Cyclops was like the outsider kind of thing, like the broody outsider. And now all of a sudden, like Cyclops became the cool character. And like Cyclops was like the like the nerdy, straight-laced guy. Now all of a sudden he's like the broody, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and you're going over there, well, I'm leaving kind of thing. And now, so clearly, like I said, that's the thing. Like if you're like the rebel or whatever, you're gonna get some extra cool points. What I mean? And if you're in charge and doing the right thing, you're gonna get points taken away from you, which again is why a big reason why I like Cyclops, because I think there's more to him than just that, and I think he doesn't get enough props for that. But
my
point is, I'm glad this wasn't just a Wolverine fan show,
or one show for one main character,
or one main character.
With everybody around
they
him,
definitely mix it up.
I think a lot of people like Wolverine because he's invincible, essentially.
Yeah.
And so like they're waiting to see, okay, is he gonna die here? Now, like, what's gonna happen? So like when the movie Wolverine came out, I think is what it's called, and like this was gonna be everyone knew this was gonna be his final movie.
Oh, Logan.
Oh, the Logan movie.
Logan.
Yeah.
Everyone, including me, I was like, how are they gonna do it?
Yeah.
Like, oh man, I think they did a good job. With the movie.
Oh, Logan was great. Yeah.
Like how he slowly, it wasn't like one thing, but like over the whole course of the movie, he was slowly like deteriorating, and like the end, he went out like trying to fight and everything, and like he was trying to protect Professor X, and like he was dealing with his own issues, and he was finally, after years and decades and centuries of being alive, like everything was finally catching up to him.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a bittersweet, because I remember, like back in the 90s, like watching the first X-Men movie that came out.
Oh yeah.
Or like in the early 2000s, whatever it was. And I was like, they were horrible. But it was like,
I mean, for the time, I think the X-Men, the first one.
Yeah, I mean, when the first came out, it was good. I mean, I don't know. Like looking back on it, I haven't watched that original X-Men movie.
Yeah, I thought X2 was pretty good.
Yeah. Well,
What happened in X2?
The school siege, the Weapon X,
Was it?
the Phoenix at the very end.
She's
I remember Phoenix at the very end.
She does, yeah.
Yeah, I remember like Wolverine or Logan trying to like find out his story or whatever.
Yeah, that was part of it. Yeah.
I mean, I can't remember anything else in X2. Anyways, that's not the point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I completely distracted you from.
No.
Yeah, Mark, why are you cutting him off?
Yeah, it's me.
No. Yeah, and it was.
Oh yeah, you're talking about Wolverine.
Yeah. So he did. He being oh my god, brain fart. Yeah, played.
The guy who played Logan.
Yeah.
Wolverine. Oh, Hugh Jackman.
Yes, Hugh Jackman.
Thank you. Yeah.
Like 20+ years.
Yeah, when you think about it, he's been playing it for a
time.
long time.
It's coming back again, man.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's kind of crazy because it's like, man, like when I was watching it, it's like, dude, I grew up. Like I was a kid, and he was playing Wolverine, and now like I'm a full-grown adult, and he's still playing Wolverine. But like, he's now dying essentially. So it's like, man, like this is crazy. Like, and you just think like the same actors played it for 20+ years. That's a long time.
Very.
Play the same role, yeah.
Yeah. But
they probably made a lot of money doing it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure made a lot of money doing it.
Still making work.
I'll play Wolverine again.
Yeah.
You know what? I had I thought about like a theory why another reason why I think people like Wolverine too is there's something cool about him not having any like really flashy powers, nothing really extraordinary or what I mean. Really, all he is he's like a really good human being as far as his powers are concerned.
Oh, okay.
He can probably see a little bit better than you. His senses are a little bit better than yours.
He can smell pretty well, apparently.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he heals a lot faster than you. I mean, that's basically what Wolverine is. And once you add the adamantium to him, now you've got, in those claws, now you have a character that is the everyday man that can take on anybody. It doesn't matter who you are. If he comes at you with those adamantium claws, he can damage you. He is now a match for anybody. So I think there is something very cool about that character just being a normal guy. He can't fly. He doesn't light up. He doesn't do anything like that. And he likes to drink beer and chase redheads, right? So
yeah, and
not bad. Sounds not bad.
That's why I said I knew you'd get it.
Oh, weird.
Two things I can enjoy. I'm gonna stop talking. I gotta stop talking.
No, it's good points. I think the other thing too is which you said it is people. I think they tend to like characters. Doesn't matter if it's like books or movies or TV shows when they're more relatable.
Yeah,
and the fact that he's just like a regular human being. I say regular with quotations.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because like he's going through stuff. Because then if you want to do it off the movies, like he's like a trucker stop, right? Like he's just going through all sorts of stuff, and he's not in the best place, and he just stumbles upon the institute or whatever, and it's just like, oh well, this guy's in a dark place, I'm sure like a lot of people can relate to that, which is maybe another reason why I like him so much.
Yeah.
Not saying everyone's in a dark place, but
right, yeah, but that he is like that flawed kind of thing, that he is that, I don't know, I don't want to say depressed, but that broken, damaged, angry at the world kind of thing. A lot of people are just kind of angry at the world.
Yeah.
And you can't even like really put your finger on the reason why. You just are.
I get it, man. I've only been around for 34 years. And I'm very angry with the world.
I'm very angry.
He's been around with the world for hundreds of years, and I get I can
only imagine, dude.
Can only imagine this is angry. Yeah.
I've always thought they could really tell some very interesting stories with Wolverine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, when did his powers kick in? You know what I mean? Because it's different with everyone's. With some people, it's puberty, when you're mutants, when your power kicks in. Sometimes you've had it when you were a kid. So maybe Wolverine's powers kicked in when he was a kid. So does that mean like the way his body ages, that he was like a child for like 100 years kind of thing?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and if his power kicked in that long ago, maybe he's not hundreds of years old. Maybe he's thousands of years old.
Oh yeah.
I thought it'd be really twisted. Like if you like maybe he is thousands of years old and his father is like Apocalypse. I mean, just something weird like that, right? You know, just something weird because, I mean, there's so much you could do with that. It just depends on how you want to spin it. You know what I mean? Like if his powers kicked in when he was a teenager, then maybe he's a couple hundred years old, and then it just depends on how his power works. Yeah, you know, maybe when he was a child, maybe he wasn't a child for 100 years. His powers kicked in. Maybe he was a child and he aged to like perfection. Maybe he aged to like, you know, being in his 20s within like a couple years. Like maybe that's what his body does. Like if it heals, and you know what I mean. Maybe it's so interesting. There's so many different little weird stories you could tell. Yeah. With Wolverine. But it's not about Wolverine. It's about the whole team of X-Men.
Let me just talk quick about freaking Magneto. I effing loved Magneto in this series. Yeah. From basically the whole time. The whole time. For me, and I went like in the beginning when he shows up, you're like, oh man, he's only been a villain. I don't trust this guy to run the X-Men. And then the moment with the hearing, and then they take Storm's powers away, the storming of the Capitol. You know, we all know what that was referencing.
Don't get political, man.
Yeah, I'm trying not to. And then and Storm loses her powers, and then like he's like, this is exactly the reason why he would lose it. Like, why would he not? Right. And then he like pulls him up to space, and then he has that conversation with them, and he's like, you know, we need to be better. And I was like, oh, okay, all right, Magneto, turning it around. Like that to me was like, okay, he's turned a new leaf because old Magneto would have ripped them apart.
Right. You know what I mean? And then rip up everybody else.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. So that like his everything that he did, and like the fighting in Genosha, and like his defending the people, like I was just like all about Magneto, man. I was like, dude, this guy is effing awesome. I've never been a huge Magneto fan, but like in this, I was like, this shit's amazing, dude. Yeah. And then even at the very end, when he's like, he is turning back to his old ways, I was like, yeah.
Right.
I get it, man.
You're so cheering for him. You're so cheering for him.
I'm with you, man. Like, these people effed you guys up, man.
You're like, we tried, Magneto. We tried.
You tried. You also tried. You tried to do what Charles wanted you to do. You tried, man. And this shit still threw it back in your face. So I was like, yeah.
And I mean, that could be a whole other show. The whole thing about they both want the same thing. Charles and, you know, Magneto, they both want for mutants to be able to, you know, live in peace in the world, you know, but one says we can't do it with humans and one says we have to do it with humans. And in a sense, they're both right. Yeah. You know, so it just depends like it's tricky, like which side do you choose? And it's very cool that they showed this whole thing from Magneto's, essentially. Yeah. We kind of got to see Magneto's perspective. We see him trying to, you know, play by the rules and all that kind of stuff. And there was the writing in this was so good. It was so good. I can't remember what the line was, but I think when that trial was going on and the Friends of Humanity came storming in and Magneto has this line where he kind of like he's laughing to himself and he says, because one of the senators is like, why are they coming after us? And he like laughs and he says like, you're playing by the rules and you still get, you know, and they still turn on you. Like it was almost like this little like to himself. It was this dig or a joke at, you know, Xavier's philosophy, right? It was like, you know, his whole thing is about trying to get along with him and do the right thing with it, and then they still come after you, and he's like laughing, like, I've been saying that forever and a day. That's what's gonna happen. They're still gonna come after you, you know, because you tried to give me a trial or whatever. Right, the dialogue in this was great. I love that they showed. This is getting a little, you know, into a different light, but when they showed Rogue and like her relationship with Magneto. Oh yeah. Like that was a thing in the comic books too. Yeah. Like the X-Men went through something called the Siege Perilous and they all got separated from each other. And for a while, the comic books, the story was based on Rogue, and Rogue ends up going to the Savage Land, I think. And, you know, that's when you see her in that skimpy outfit or whatever. Yeah. And she ends up, you know, hanging out with Magneto, and you kind of find out like, oh, you know, Magneto can touch her. I think they really explore that in Age of Apocalypse. That's a whole different thing. But
right with him, I think they're married in that, right?
They're married. Yeah, they're married in that. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. He can actually. I want to say they have a kid together too.
Oh, okay.
But I mean that whole that love triangle between.
Yeah.
You know, there were some times where like Rogue was like walking out of the office and Gambit was like, saw that she walked out. I'm like, how long were they?
Gambit knew.
Yeah, were they in there like up to? Were they
up to shenanigans?
Were they?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was never like that jealous boyfriend.
Yeah.
Kind of thing because it seemed like there were a couple times they were like having like all the time scheduled for the being in the
danger room.
In the danger room.
Yeah.
All these different appointments.
What's going on there?
I don't know, guys. I don't know.
Yeah, he's even being kind of coy when he was like putting the sugar in her coffee. He's like, oh, she takes 3 sugars. He's like, oh, well, I'll take an espresso if you're taking orders.
He's like, no, I'm giving them.
Yeah,
that was a great comeback too.
Right,
like that was don't take any shit. I'm giving them. Like, oh dang. Yeah.
Yeah.
The writing in this has been some of the best writing I've seen in well, I don't know, maybe I don't want to say an animated show, maybe an American animated show, especially in anything from, and I don't want to turn this into a whole, Disney's effing up kind of thing, but this has been one of the best things they've put out in a while. Like just solid good. There's so many things. I didn't even know where to...
You laughing?
I disagree.
Well, Will's got a lot of things to say, I think. Yeah, he's got a lot to say about it.
Oh, do you have some negatives? We get in.
Oh, yeah. Are we ready for negatives yet or what?
Oh, well, what are positives we got?
No. Keep going.
No, that's all good. Okay, you got any other
I'm
positives?
done with positives. I'm done, yeah. I got through all mine, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, there are a lot of great references from the comic book. A lot of... Man, when the whole Genosha thing went down, when they got blown up, like a lot of mutants that are characters got you topping yourself off? Okay.
No, I just got a little.
Carry on, everybody. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Look at him. Now look at him.
There's nothing going on over there.
Over there. Don't look over there.
I want the syrup to soak through my shirt. That would have been annoying.
Yeah, no, definitely, right? It's all I was gonna say. Anyways, there were a lot of mutants that were in the comic books that were on Genosha. Like that you kind of see for a brief flash. It's like one of those things where you'd have to like watch it. Like we could watch it and just start pointing out all the Easter eggs. In it. They had so many different characters that were from different factions.
Oh yeah, from X Factor.
Right.
There's like
New Mutants.
Yeah.
Well, I can't remember what are the New Mutants? The X-Force.
X-Force,
all these different characters were showing up. Like Dazzler looked like she was in there.
Yeah, for a second.
Boom Boom was in there. Who was one of
was also in there.
Yeah.
They had the Blob in there for a second. They had who's one of those flying that got blasted? Banshee or something, or the one that was
Banshee.
Banshee,
yeah. Banshee got blasted. I hope he lived, but it didn't look like it. Didn't seem like it.
There is even like in the beginning,
Callisto with the Morlocks.
Oh yeah, there's even like Jubilee had a line in the beginning. I think maybe in the first episode where she was like, so something about like, are you like what's your ability? Can you make gold balls or something? Because there's a character named Gold Balls for a little while that literally just made gold balls. Like I was wow. I think that's when they're running out of ideas for mutants. But
yeah.
But I think they were making a joke because that was a ridiculous ass character. You know what I mean? So yeah. But so there's that was kind of reference. Well, that was cool. Yeah,
a lot of these mutants that they brought out were on Genosha. So man, I don't know who's alive again. And then they showed a lot of people laying down, like when they were all kind of getting together, like what's going on? We're trying to assess the situation. They showed a lot of people. It looked like Moira McTaggart. Was in one of the stretchers. I don't know. It looked like she might have been dead.
Died,
she was gone. Again, like I said, Callisto, who was the leader of the Morlocks, the mutants that lived underground. The fact they even mentioned that. One thing that I like too, and then again, so many likes. I'm going to leave it at this. This might be a bit of a more of a deep cut kind of thing, but again, going back to the Morlocks, they were mutants, but they were mutants that didn't have any sort of like crazy powers. They just looked different. So they were living underground, right? So
I remember.
There's a big story. Storm fights Callisto, takes over. She's the leader of the Morlocks. They don't really do anything much after that.
Yeah.
And they mention that on this show, like, oh, the X-Men don't like us. Like one of I can't remember her name. one of she had like this crazy colorful.
Oh yeah.
She mentions like, oh, they don't care about us, they don't like us, kind of thing. But anyways, there's a part where they're about to get jumped and they're about to get beat up or whatever. And in the comic book, the Morlocks get taken out by a group called, I want to say they're called the Marauders. I want to say they're cybernetic. They're people. They're cybernetics, and they go underground into the sewers, and they end up killing a bunch of the Morlocks or whatever. Yeah, it was effing terrible, right? So it turns out later on, Gambit's got like this whole darkness to him, and in this throughout when they introduce him, he seemed very mysterious kind of thing. So it's like, why is he mysterious? Well, it's just cool to be mysterious, right? But they did something with it. The reason why I want to say they're called the Marauders, again, Gambit told them where the Morlocks were. He was the one that said, yeah, they paid him or whatever. And they're like, yeah, the Morlocks, they're down here. You can go down there and kill them. Or he didn't say all that, but the reason why they got slaughtered was because Gambit kind of snitched on him, basically. The reason why, and Angel, one of the original X-Men, his wings got cut off. They had to amputate his wings because the Marauders, when they were down there fighting him, they like pinned his wings against the wall, and then his wings got gangrene. They had to cut him off. He tries to kill himself because he can't live not being who he was anymore. Yeah. He gets captured, taken over, turned in one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Whole different story. But my point is, all of it was because of Gambit, right? And it comes to a head in the comic books, and everyone's like, F you, Gambit, now, because you're not with us anymore. A lot of the shit that happened to us, especially Angel, it's all your fault. In the series, and I don't know if they did this on purpose, but the Morlocks were about to get taken out, and they were waiting for Callisto to save them. We saw Callisto laying dead, so we're like, well, Callisto's not coming to save you, kid. Gambit busts in. He fights off the Sentinel, blows up the, the head or whatever that's in there. And and again, I don't know if they did this on purpose or not. It seems like maybe, I don't know, but I loved that they did that they kind of changed the story and made Gambit, instead of being the one that, destroyed the Morlocks, made him more like the hero for these Morlocks. He ended up saving them instead of, getting them killed. So, and again, no, I don't know if they did that on purpose or not, but I loved it when I saw it. It was very cool. Nice. Very cool. Cool. So that's cool. All right. Anything else? We ready to get into?
I'm ready to give negatives.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Let's this guy.
I think when you're going with the references to the comic books which was cool that they did that. I think that for the amount that they packed in, the season was too short. Like 10 episodes, they rushed through a lot of these story arcs like very quickly. Like especially the storms. Like, I almost didn't like the storm part because it was so short. Yeah, and I just kind of felt like it was just thrown in there. They should have had Storm have 9 powers for a long time. Versus 2 episodes later, she's back and ready to party. You know what I mean? I think it wasn't like a long enough of a consequence, and for her to learn and to find herself and to become Storm again. Yeah, I think that's an important story arc in the comic book for her to go on this kind of personal quest. I think it lasts for like 10 issues or something. It's a long arc, I think, or 6 issues or something like that. Or it's a long enough arc where it kind of covers a lot of that. And this was like in 2 episodes, and she was just like, I lost my powers, fell in love with Forge, he gave him back, now I'm back. Yeah, like kind of quick. I think or even with the, I guess I like the Madeline Pryor one a little bit more, but still that was really short too. Like she went from being his Jean Grey, the wife, to having the kid, to becoming the Goblin Queen, to becoming Madeline Pryor and a good guy, and then a ambassador at Genosha in like 2 episodes. Yeah, like, all of those things happen in such a short amount of time that I don't know why they decided to make this season so short, like 10 episodes. Yeah, trying to cram all these things into it. So it wasn't to me. It wasn't. It just everything happened too fast, and I like to see more.
No, I agree. I actually agree with that. I would guess because it's the first season. Maybe they don't have quite as much of a budget as they would have liked, not as much time as they would have liked. Maybe it's one of those things where we've got to swing for the fences if we want to keep this thing going. So they had to cram it all in there.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I agree, and I think I've mentioned on the show, and I was saying before that I've been watching X-Men, that a lot of it is good, but some of it is not so good, and that's what it is. Like, especially that whole thing with with Madeline.
Yeah.
Essentially, that went down like really fast. Like somebody walks in, hey, I'm Jean Grey, and then like 5 minutes later, okay, well, yeah, we checked. You're not Jean Grey. You know what I mean? It's like I felt like they turned on her in a sense, like way too fast. Like, yeah, okay, maybe there's something going on. Let's run some more tests other than just the one. Let's do some more. Let's. If she is a Jean Grey, one of these two is, whatever it is, like, don't be so quick to dismiss it or whatever, or just dismiss one of them. I was really kind of conflicted when, especially that episode, the Genosha episode. I think it was called Remember the Time, something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, that felt like it might have been better as the last episode, as like a cliffhanger kind of thing. Like, build everything up, build up the whole thing of Genosha becoming a recognized country by the UN. Give us more time to fall in love with these characters, to like the characters that they showed on Genosha, because we see them in that one episode maybe a little bit before, then they're gone. It's tragic, but it would have been so much more tragic if we saw them and had a chance to care about them more, kind of thing. So no, I see where you're coming from with that, though. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that went a little bit too fast.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to I think it's because Disney's been putting out a lot of stinkers over the last few years. Maybe they're a little hesitant on committing to like a 26 episode series or 18 episode series.
I can't imagine
maybe
that.
They're trying to be like, well, let's play it safe and just try to tell some good stories, and the people are gonna cash in on the nostalgia. And maybe we'll see if this works or not. And then if it works, maybe we'll do a season 2.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like, because 10 episodes is really short.
Yeah.
For something that already has a built-in audience. I think,
Yeah. I mean, a lot of series now go like 10, 12 episodes. You know what I mean? Like, most of them typically do. But yeah, I see what you're saying, though. I mean, there is a built-in audience. It's already there. It's like all you got to do is just put it out there, and people are they're gonna want to watch it. Yeah. Plus, you could have told some better stories. You could have had more time to
taken a few of those out and focused on one major storyline, like the Genosha stuff, or whatever it is. I think there's a lot that could have been done in that versus these episodic things that were just kind of like gloss over real quick.
Yeah.
I think that was one of my biggest pet peeves. Is like they have so many stories. You have Storms, you have Rogues, like Birthday,
Jubilees.
Jubilees. His whole episode on like Jubilee.
It was like a filler episode.
That one.
It's like
already.
Okay,
dude.
That was,
episode 3 is a filler.
Yeah.
Like you have that one, and then you have Sinister getting introduced. Then you have like 3 episodes later, you have Trask getting introduced. Then like before that, you have Professor X. Oh wow, Professor X isn't dead. He's on this other planet, like in this whole other thing. And then you have Magneto's. He's a good guy. Is he? Is he a bad guy? Is he? Like, you don't know. Like it's like 5 or 6 different plots that I just said, and I'm sure I'm missing probably like 4 more. And it's like, they could have stretched it out enough. Which I really don't have a problem with, like the 10 episodes. But they could have stretched it out everything enough to where they could have ended the season with Professor X coming back. Like where he comes in the meteor, like who's that? The mansion's destroyed, everything just got wrecked, and then we know Professor X coming back. We just don't know when. Right? So Professor X comes back, the meteor comes, boom, he takes the helmet off, and Wolverine's standing there. It's like, oh, just after he says, where's Professor when we need him? And he comes, right? And he comes, and then that's the end of the season, and then it says to be continued. Right?
Right, they always did, yeah.
Yeah, and like had they and they could have stretched it out, they could have ended it right there and taken on a whole nother season. But like they just condensed so much plots, and it's like guys, what are you doing? But it makes sense also for from what you guys are saying, that like they know they've taken L's, like a lot of L's.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe they're, who knows? Like I'm not, we're not
right.
in the studio, right? But maybe they're trying to cram as much as they can into it.
Yeah, because they really could have like turned with everything that they covered in this season. They could have easily turned this into like at least, I'm lowballing it, at least 3 seasons.
Oh yeah,
there were at least 3 seasons worth of material in that first season.
Yeah.
And they,
crammed it all into one 10th season.
Yeah, maybe, like I said, maybe there's like maybe they're just trying to, they're trying to go big. They want to, maybe because they realize there is so much content, there is so much stuff that they can pull from. And do.
True. Yeah, true that. Is there anything you wanted to add? I know you had a couple you wanted to add, right?
Well, that was a big one, and then the other thing, I'll agree with you. It's paying me to say this, but I do see where you're coming from. I do agree that I think this is probably one of the better things that Disney's probably pushed out in a very long time.
Yeah.
With the caveat though to that is, which they finally did it with the Deadpool movie by making it rated R, right?
Oh yeah.
New one. Granted, it hasn't come out yet, but I think there were so many love triangles, like so many, but there was a couple love triangles, plus the amount of violence that I think they could have portrayed, or like the TV show could have gone down, right? Like some of these other animes, right? Like Disney could have gone down any one of these other shows that have, way more gore and violence and everything. But they keep trying to pander it and cater it towards their general
Get
Disney
that PG
audience.
rating.
And it's like, if you guys are going to have these characters hinting that they're going to go play in the danger room, right, multiple times, like, okay, we all know what they're doing, right? And you're going to have like characters like making out. You're going to have characters, with blood and like cursing, all this. Like, what are we doing? Like, just call it what it is. I get it. Disney's trying to pander to the general audience. But if we're going to call it what it is, just make it TVMA.
Just go for it. Commit to it. Because
it
seemed like that's one of my other niggas I agree with you, is that like it seemed like they're kind of dipping their toes in it a little bit. Like, oh, we're gonna, danger room stuff. Oh, we're gonna have a couple of curse words. Oh, we're gonna have the sensual Rogue and Magneto dance. It's a little risque, but not quite bad. But a little bit. It's questionable, for kids who are watching it. But still, though, it's still on a lower ended rating. Like, if you're gonna like play with that, just jump into it, man. Like give it to us. You know what I mean? Because I think Marvel, Disney specifically has that kind of, they're scared, it seems like, to go into that next level to try to give us anything mature or rated R. Because they did that with Moon Knight when they were like, oh, this is gonna be brutal, and it was fucking not at all. Like it wasn't at all. And then they were trying to dial back Daredevil, the series they're trying to do, and not have it like the Netflix. I'm like, what the fuck are you thinking? That's the dumbest idea in the world. So I think it's like they're scared to try to cater to another audience. Like, here's the thing: who's gonna be watching the X-Men 97? The people that watched it as kids who are now adults.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to cash in on nostalgia, why not give these the same generation of kids that are now adults an adult version of it? You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't that make sense?
Yeah.
I think it would have been good, because it just seemed like they're kind of trying to play with it and tap, like, to dip the toes into it a little bit, but not quite commit to it. And then it ends up just still being kind of a PG show.
Yeah. Because I think we were talking about it before the show started. Like, DBZ had some pretty, like, Vegeta was beating up the kid. Like, like literally just kneeing him in the face.
It is Gohan.
Yeah, like just
learn something.
Yeah, like, and that was Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Like years ago. Like, it's like just.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of play devil's advocate a little bit. Look at each other like, this guy. Here we go.
I love it. You guys are great.
I would like to see that. I would like to see a a more realistic, more gritty, more again just more realistic X-Men, even animated. I would like to see that.
Yeah.
I guess my my pushback or my counterpoint is a better way to put it might be, I feel like obviously they do want to get that next generation of young kids to watch this show and be intrigued by it. You know, I was talking about like in that first episode of the original series, they killed Morph, right? Or it seemed like he had been killed. And that had not really been done before. I mean, at that point, I'd been watching anime for a long time, so it wasn't that shocking to me at all. But to somebody that had been watching, you know, whatever was on at that time, whatever, you know, G.I. Joe Extreme or He-Man Extreme. There are a lot of extremes in the 90s. Whatever show was on, they weren't doing that. So that might have had a little bit of shock value. Yeah. So that it's a little more edgy than all the other stuff out there. But like you're saying, when you watch that show again, it's you know, it's not that. Yeah. There's nothing really to it. And I feel like this show they might be trying to do the same thing. They might be trying to get that younger audience, that maybe tween audience. I feel like they probably already know. They got the nostalgic. They've got the people that watch the original series are going to tune in and watch it. And the show is smart. They don't really dumb anything down. So you're going to get, again, people that like the so to speak grittiness of the original series. We're all older now, but when you're younger and you watched it and you liked it, they're kind of doing the same thing now with this. The writing's better. You know, the stories are much more, you know, there's a much more human, complicated element to it. So and then it's kind of something the parents can watch with the kids.
Yeah.
So I feel like their main goal is always going to be, no matter what, it's always going to be, how can we, you know, turn a buck off of this?
Yeah.
So
which is unfortunate because now it's going to be like, oh, see, we can still do PG shows and get views. Yeah,
that's a possibility.
Look where that got you guys last year, or the last 5 years. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
and they have a hard time learning.
Yeah,
they have a very difficult time learning lessons.
Let me tell you, man. So yes, I mean, I don't know. I think overall, I really came in wanting to love the show. I really did. I really wanted to love the show, but I don't know. Maybe I think the superhero fatigue is real, man. I think it is real. I think me personally, I'm tired of superheroes. Yeah. Especially if it's kind of more or less in the same vein over and over again. This is good, and it's better than what we've gotten recently. But again, how good would this show have been like right after Winter Soldier came out or Infinity War came out? I don't know. Maybe it still would have been good potentially. But I mean, is it great because it's great, or is it great because everything else has been shit? You know what I mean? So I mean, I think I was bored for a lot of the first. I think the first maybe 4 episodes. I think Gambit dies in number 5.
Yeah.
But the first 4 episodes, I was like truly bored. And I was like, I don't understand why everyone loves this show. I don't get it. Like I do not understand. And then obviously Gambit dies, and Genosha, all kind of stuff happens. And Rogue goes berserk. There's a lot of cool stuff that goes on in that second half of the show. But I wasn't floored like everybody else was. And I was trying to understand like what is so engaging about this right now. And didn't do much for me, especially in the first half. So I mean, like I wanted to love it. I really was looking forward to it, but I don't know. Maybe I'm not a huge X-Men guy, I guess, either. I don't know. I don't read a lot of X-Men comics, so that could be it too. But I don't know. I'm just bored of superheroes, and like it has to be just groundbreakingly amazing for me to be into it now these days when it comes to superheroes. I don't know. Yeah,
and again, not to be that guy, but yeah, I'm gonna go just the opposite, man. I thought the show was fantastic. I think again, I go back to the writing of it. There's a lot more depth of character in these shows than and I see what you're just talking about. Maybe you can compare it to anything else, but even just on its own, this has been heads and shoulders above anything else. You know what I mean? That I've seen on. Well, especially from Disney, that's, I don't want to keep comparing it to all the bad stuff that Disney's done. But again, I think the writing is so much better in this. When you know, just hearing, you know, Magneto's speech, you know, him talking to the you know, the world government and all that kind of stuff. You see him trying to do the right thing, and all this bad, you know, nonsense keeps happening. It's not nonsense, but you know, all the death and despair and all that kind of stuff that comes with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the show, this is, I am very excited about this show.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
This has been one of the best things I've seen. Like, again, like I was watching it like all along, but this is one of the best things, in my opinion, that I've seen in a while. I think just in general.
Like from Disney, or like what about like
No, you know, I'm gonna say in general. I'm gonna say in
like
general. I mean, Invincible was great.
Boys or like those kind of shows, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, The Boys is cool too. Like, I know, and like that Gen V, I think it was called.
Gen V,
yeah. I mean, those are all great. Those are cool. I don't take anything away from this show. I think, and really, I think the cool thing, the thing about the X-Men, they've always been like this marginalized society, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it just depends on, you know, who you are is how you relate to them. Like me, as an African American, that's who I thought the X-Men were. I thought this is a story about a race of people that are being, you know, picked on for whatever reason. They're just trying to, you know, contribute to society, and they're, you know, being, you know, picked on. I keep saying that, right?
Yeah.
But again, it's just whoever you are. If you are awkward around people, you're an outsider. That's going to be how you relate to the X-Men. If you are maybe, you know, gay or lesbian or anything like that, that's how you relate to the X-Men. If you know, maybe you're new to the country, you're a foreigner or whatever, that's how you relate to the X-Men. And I feel like the stories focused on that a lot more than they were telling, like, these, you know, the action was there, but I think those stories talking about them, how they were trying to work with humanity, that's what made the series really the most interesting to me, and how they kept trying, how they kept getting beat down, or, you know, some bad thing happened for whatever reason. Right. So now the question is, where do you fit in? Are you with Trent? Or are you with me? You got to pick. You got to pick.
Remember whose house you're in.
Right. And I got access to a sword right here. But so do you, so you can defend yourself.
Where's my sword?
Yeah. You got a sword right there, so you can defend yourself. Trent, you got nothing.
Yeah. Got it.
But he's got access to the bar, so let's. Hey, I take back.
I mean, I can only throw these, but I don't know how you know how good it's gonna be.
Yeah, don't throw those. Yeah, especially not Broly. That thing's beautiful.
They mark favorite figure. Yeah.
Yeah, no pressure, man. No pressure. No pressure.
Yeah, I think I'm about to side with Trent.
Get out.
I don't think I think comparing it to I do agree with you. I do think it's probably the best thing that Disney's put out in a while. I don't know if comparing it to Invincible is fair. I think well I guess it is fair because it's really the only other really cartoonish, you know, right now.
Yeah.
I just think Invincible is just a better overall written I guess cartoon.
Sure.
You know, they're not trying to push 15 plots, you know, in a certain amount of time. You're following the Sun, you're following Omni-Man, you know, and, you know, they have Cecil, right? But Cecil always also has his they're not Justice League, but they're
The Guardians.
Yeah, the Guardians, right?
The Globe, yeah.
Crazy, those crazy people. I mean, and granted, you also have like Omni-Man's side story in the second season of how, like, you know, he goes off and as a kid and all that other stuff. But I just think it's more well done, plot wise and script wise than X-Men '97. Granted, that's not gonna keep me from not watching it when the second season comes out.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna watch it again to see, okay, well, how do they do this season? And it's not to say that, like, I say all this, I didn't like hate the show, right?
Yeah.
Like I wasn't gonna turn on and be like, oh, this is gonna be a freaking drag, you know. Like, granted.
Did you say granite?
I
kid.
That's good. I saw the last 3 episodes today, and I was sitting there, and I was like, all right, let's speed this up. But it's
if you feel that way at that point,
and it's not gonna prevent me from watching the second season. You know, and I would definitely say, you know, go ahead, you know, give it a watch, because there's a lot of great stuff in the show. But I just think they could have done it a little better. And for me, the nail in the coffin with the show it's just the plot. Like the 15 million plots in the 10 episodes I thought it was a little ridiculous. Yeah. So,
no, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Distracting.
I think I'll just say that I would be a little more careful, I suppose, comparing it to Invincible, yeah. Only because, I mean, it's justified to compare them. Obviously, they're both animated stories dealing with superheroes. But I think the stories that they tell are very different. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's the only thing that I would look at one for what it is, and I would look at another one for what it is. You know, one is you know, like I said, one X-Men, I feel like, me personally, it's about a race of people trying to, you know, find their, you know, come together with how they want to govern themselves and how they want to live in the world. And Invincible is, again, fantastic. I love Invincible. It's more of a, you know, father, son, you know, teenager kind of growing up, dealing with responsibility kind of thing. So their stories are very different. I mean, I get comparing them, but I mean, just keep in mind that those are two very different stories to tell.
Yeah, and I only say that because those are the only two that pop in my head. You know,
those are probably the two best ones, right, from America.
I mean?
Yeah, those are probably the two best superhero stories. That are out there, I would say.
But I think you can still comment on how the story is told, though.
Okay.
Because I think, obviously, it seems that we like the story from Invincible versus I mean, in season 2, we actually had a discussion about how many plots were thrown into season 2 that I didn't like either. For X-Men, it just seemed like there was just shoving a ton of plots into this story. And I don't know if it's necessarily, like, because I don't know if you can really write it off as like, oh, this is because this is that type of story. Like, I think any type of story told that way isn't necessarily a good story.
Right. Yeah. And we talked about that. We discussed that. We all agree with that there was too much thrown in there.
Yeah.
You know, but again, I'm not ready to give it a bad rating, so to speak, or whatever for that reason. Did they mess up with that? In my opinion, well, in all of our opinions, they probably did, you know, and why they did it, we threw out our own, you know, hypotheses about it, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, and I think it also comes down to what it is, again, the opinion, like what it is you like, you know what I mean? Because I think I don't want to call myself jaded at this point in my life, but it comes down, that's part of it. Like if X-Men 97 would have come out 10 years ago, I think I would have probably had a better reception to it. It's the same as like when we said Blue Beetle. If that would have come out the same time Iron Man came out, it would have been a smash hit. But it's too late for something like that to come out, you know? And I think that for me, the superhero fatigue plays into that. Like it's hard for me to be impressed now with superhero movies because they're all kind of the same. And if you're a little bit better than what's complete garbage, that doesn't necessarily mean it's fantastic. Yeah. But I mean, not to say this isn't, because there's a lot of
I wouldn't say it's a little bit better than the stuff that's come out. That would be and I don't know if I know you're not saying that like literally, like a little bit better, but I think it's much better than all the stuff that's come out. And even I think that the fact that it's come out right now, I think actually that, in my opinion, that makes it that much better because it is something more refreshing than a lot of the stuff we have been getting. You know, again, I think I thought I don't want to keep, beating a dead horse here. I thought the writing in this was a lot better. It's a big jump up from the original X-Men series, which is, that's obvious, I would say, or it should be.
Yeah.
But I think the subject matter that they focused on was very, I don't want to say mature, but it was very mature, you know. So
Okay.
but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Anyway, yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, no, I won't keep eating dead horse.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
I think I think it really comes down to how you felt watching it. Like that's all it is.
yeah, that's very true. Yeah, like I said,
yeah.
if you were like not like by the time you're watching the last 3 episodes, you're like, let's wrap
get
it
to the
up.
end here.
Yeah. So that when I feel that way watching when I'm watching, like, you know, all the anime we've been covering.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it. Like if there are certain ones that I'm watching, I'm like, oh, or I keep getting all these false starts watching it. Like, oh, this is my 5th time starting the show.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, well, that's probably,
Yeah.
you know, and you have to take that into account, how you feel watching it, you know?
Yeah, no, because it comes down to like Man of Steel, for example. Like you had that opinion that you were kind of like out of it by the time you started fighting Zod. Like you're like, oh, I don't need to see another fight.
Oh, you know,
And
no, I
and
think
I'm like,
the fight with Zod took me out of it.
okay, and I'm like, I want that. I was great. I was great with it, you know. So I think it's like that situation, like how we can have completely completely different, polar opposite opinions of something based on how we felt about it.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it comes down to with X-Men. It's just I didn't feel like I was wowed by it.
Yeah,
because
that's real.
It didn't feel like watching Man of Steel or Winter Soldier or Infinity War to me. Like the movies that I think are great in the superhero genre, it didn't feel like that for me. So I don't know, but again, it could be because I'm just tired of superheroes.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, timing, or maybe I was just effing tired that day when I watched. I started
Well, I
watching
mean,
it,
I know-
or what? You know, it could be.
This is just whatever. But I know I don't try to, or I don't watch everything looking for it to be the next, like, you know, big thing, so to speak. And I mean, I just watch it, and sometimes like it's either, I mean, if we get something great, you know, something revolutionary, let's say, you know, like how you feel about Man of Steel, that's fantastic. We get something revolutionary, a game changer. But if we don't get a game changer, it either has to be something that's good, or, in my opinion, I guess, and something that's good, or it's not good kind of thing. So everything doesn't have to be like a gold medal. You know, I'm okay with getting a silver medal sometimes. You know,
but I think in a world of like, I don't know, what's lower than bronze? Like
that's lower than bronze.
In a world of copper medals.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean,
yeah.
I think for you to be great, you have to be great. You know what I mean? Otherwise, it depends on, I guess. But then again, depends on who you. We're just beating that horse right at this point.
Yeah.
It depends on who you are, right? Because it depends on, like, for me, I need something to be fantastic for me to be excited about it.
Yeah.
In this climate, I guess is what I mean to say. But it seems like you're better at seeing things for what they are.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, and again, it is perspectives. So that's all good.
Yeah. So, how are we gonna rate this then?
Yeah. Obviously, I think you see where I'm going to go with this. I say drop what you're doing, especially if you've seen the original X-Men show. Then, in theory, you might like this one. Or if you're maybe an X-Men comic book fan, there's a lot of cool Easter eggs in this, so you might have fun watching it and, you know, kind of picking that stuff out. But yeah, for me, I would say drop what you're doing. Percentage-wise, I might give it like, I don't know, maybe like a 90, something like that.
Okay.
91, 92.
I'm sitting at, I'd probably say stream it. I think it's a good show. It's better than everything else Disney's put out. For everything, Star Wars, Marvel, everything, anything in that nerd, geek genre is probably the best thing we've gotten in the last couple of years, for sure. But, you know, I'm sitting there streaming because I don't, especially after going back and watching it, I don't have a very fond opinion of the X-Men animated series. And so that didn't help at all going into with this nostalgia of X-Men. I probably should not have watched the animated series before watching X-Men 97.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like...
Yeah, they're two different monsters.
It's kind of...
So did you, when you saw the original X-Men series, did you like it, not like it, or...
When I was a kid, yeah. But I was a kid, though. I was, 7, 8 years old, probably.
Yeah.
Watching it, and you know, anything on Saturday morning cartoons were fun.
Okay,
you know?
okay.
But I should have just... But I don't know. I don't remember it. I don't have that as much nostalgia about it as I think most people have going into it. And then when I watched it before watching 97,
Yeah.
that made it even worse. And I was like, okay,
I definitely didn't watch the
I really
original.
don't like any of this.
Yeah.
So I'm going without, like, even with the theme song, I didn't even really, I wasn't even like, oh, the theme song's back, woo! Like,
Oh, wow.
like, it wasn't really that much of a hit for me. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, stream it. It's pretty decent. For percentage wise, I'll probably give it a 78, maybe 79. Like, pretty good. But that first half was, for me, tough to get through because there was just so much stuff going on that I think could have been fleshed out or not in it all.
Right on.
I think so. Yeah. You?
Well, what's your take on it?
Yeah, I'd say go ahead and watch it. I guess I'm kind of like in between. Drop what you're doing
And stream it.
Yeah, like because I like the both arguments on both sides. And for me, it was kind of cool to watch like X-Men 97 because when it first came out, I was excited. I was like, oh heck yeah, like let's see what this is all about.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say binge watch it. I'd say watch it like maybe like an episode a day.
Take your time.
Yeah.
Take your time.
Take your time, and take everything that was said here into consideration. So you can like really, because there is a lot to pick apart, and I didn't even read the comics that you guys did. You guys were picking apart everything that you guys saw. So I think there's a lot of nostalgia, and then plus on top of like all the plots. And if you miss one episode or like a little piece of an episode, you might miss something that that they talk about like later on.
Yeah.
Because I even caught myself. I was like, wait a minute, what is that about? Like what are they what? So do I have to freaking go back and watch it? So I'd say that just watch an episode at a time and like really pay attention to what they're talking about. But I'd give it like a low 80s.
Okay.
Like a maybe like an 84.
All right. Somewhere close to the.
Yeah. I mean, I and again, I didn't think it was terrible. Again, the biggest thing with me was just the cramming of the plot, right?
Yeah.
And like we've already touched on Disney trying to make it MA or 14, whatever. That's beside the point. But like, it's just the plot. If they could just stop, expand the plot, or just pick one or two plots to stretch out, like two main plots for the whole series, and then have like smaller ones, then I'd be like, okay, cool. But,
Yeah.
so,
All right on.
Yeah.
Cool. For sure. Well, as always, check it out for yourselves. And,
Yes.
And form your own opinion and let us know what you guys think when you do.
Right on.
Yeah.
There you go.
What do we do this week?
Yeah. What are we into this week? What have you been doing this week?
Oh, fucking jumping while you're thinking.
Please.
I started listening. This is for you, Drew. Started listening to this great audiobook on Spotify about the Beatles.
Oh.
And it's about
cool.
It's about the entire history of the Beatles from like beginning to, I don't know where it ends. Obviously I haven't got to the end yet, but it's from like the beginning, from like when they got started out.
The Beatles. Wait, you said the Beatles? Or?
Yeah, the Beatles.
Okay,
yeah.
Beatles.
Yeah, and it's phenomenal.
Nice,
The
nice,
story
nice.
is phenomenal about it's like individually their lives, how they came together, how the band, like everything they went through to get to become the Beatles.
Yeah.
It's pretty damn incredible. And I'm a huge Beatles fan.
Right.
Listening to this book is phenomenal. And I know that Drew is not a Beatles fan.
I was just about to make a joke. I was going to say he hates the Beatles.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
we got a discussion so many times through like high school and college that Drew was just not a Beatles guy, and I was like, how can you not be interested in the greatest rock band of all time?
Yeah. Perspectives. I guess.
Same, but,
But yeah, I'll link it in the show notes. But yeah, if you have Spotify Premium, it's free on there. You
Oh,
listen to
cool,
it.
cool,
It's like a 10-hour book, 10,
Oh, wow.
12-hour book. Yeah, in like 1-hour segments. It's pretty sweet. It's amazing. If you're interested in history of rock and roll and Beatles,
Yeah.
it's great. Yeah,
That's very cool.
Drew.
It's for you. Yeah, I don't think I've done too much this week, just working. But like I said, I downloaded Overwatch. I brought Overwatch back on my
Oh my gosh.
system. Yeah, I know. I shouldn't have done it. But yeah, sometimes I need to just have a game
Yeah.
just to like that's like a cigarette for me or something, or having a drink just where you do something just kind of
Yeah.
unwind or whatever. So yeah, that's what Overwatch or a video game sometimes is. So yeah, I just do Overwatch, and the good thing is I'm not playing it as much as I used to. You know what I mean? Because I was like, first thing when I get home, it's like, nobody fucking talk to me. And I just start playing Overwatch for like 2 hours and neglect all the stuff I was supposed to do. So, yeah.
Nice.
What about you, sir?
Anything you're into this week, man?
This will be your life.
Yeah, it's this week. I'm just my sister graduated college, so
good job, sister.
Huh?
That's a good job, sister.
Good job, sister.
You said the same thing. Yeah.
So yeah, she's on to well, she graduated at community college, so now she's going to
university.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, that, and then visiting family and friends. It's cool because I live in Gotham City, so it's Memphis. So yeah, like when I come out here to see my family and mom and other family members that live in Vegas, but it's a long flight, and so I have to spend a lot of time out here. Otherwise, to me, it's like a wasted trip.
Sure, definitely.
So I spend like a week out there with him, and drive out here, and then try to spend like a week out here with you guys, other friends, and it's still not enough time.
Yeah.
I just know so many people like growing up in Southern California.
Yeah.
But you get your priorities straight.
Exactly. I gotta come see the kings. The kings of the podcast.
Yeah.
So yeah, I appreciate it.
Definitely. Solid, man. That's cool.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
is that it?
And we did it. Did our episode on 97? Episode 97, we did it. Yeah. That's Colossus. Yeah.
He was not in the show.